All right, so I think we have time for just a couple of questions. I saw that people were asking those in the Q&A section, and some were already getting answered. But there was one here from John Mako that I wanted to just bring forward. I believe this one would have been for the first. I'll read the question and then maybe, I think that was the second presentation. What form of N was used? Were any N efficiency products applied along with the N? I'm thinking that was for Dr. Dumonso, but I guess I should have confirmed that if you're there and you want to unmute and potentially share your video to answer that one. And then the next question, and after that will be for the canola seed rate trial, was there harvest delay days recorded? So again, just a reminder to there we go. Videos showing and to unmute for that first.
Sure, I can attempt to answer that question. I think it might be for Bao-Lo, but because he was talking about nitrogen use efficiency, but for the fertilization, I don't have that information on the rotation. I would have to get that information, so I don't know.
Okay, maybe Dr. Ma, if you.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I checked the question. I didn't know, and it's for my talk for the next one. Anyway, for the my talk for the split application, we refer to at the 6-leaf stage, top dressing use urea sprayed by hand in the field experiment.
Okay, thanks. I think this next question is for Dr. Barris. For the canola seed rate trial, what was the harvest delay days recorded? For the harvest delay days recorded? I guess that would it, yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
No, I'm not sure what the question is, or maybe what you're getting at there. Like, is one seed treatment effect delaying maturity versus another, or not? I don't quite get the question. And yeah, we've recorded harvest dates and a lot of phenological stuff, but I didn't present it. And off the top of my head, I can't recall that question. So thanks for stumping me with the first question.
I'm guessing that was maybe just if you wanted to harvest it on a certain day and there would have been like rain delays or something like that that made it difficult, but we can move on to one more question. I think there's a few more in here actually. Lower seeding rate, 60 seeds. Do you have delays in days? Oh, for the lower seeding rates of 60 seeds, did you have any delays in days to maturity?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I wouldn't remember. But one thing we do know that would cause, right, is it would cause uniformity issues, and it would probably delay things. Certainly, that's generally a common trend with seeding rate studies. And yeah, that's a good point. So there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of economic incentive to cheat back seeding rates, given the cost of crop inputs, and particularly what the cost of seed might be, especially in coming years. But these are some of the intangibles, or some of the things you don't quite consider as something that could bite you on the back end, and that is those things like delayed harvest and uniformity issues. So we'll be able to address a little bit of that though with this study.
Okay, thanks. I just want to sneak one more question in here before we move on. Just to Dr. Dumonso about the root microbiota and or root microbiome. I'm just wondering, I know the research was around crop rotations, and so for growers kind of looking for the outcomes from this that they can apply on their farms. But I'm just wondering about the nitrogen use efficiency. It seems when there's less nitrogen applied, then there's more chance that the plant will be more efficient. But obviously, you don't want to risk having a nutrient deficiency in your crop. So, are we at the stage where we can give any kind of recommendations around something that growers should be taking away from some of those results about improving their nutrient use efficiency, or is there still kind of a little bit too much to that we need to research before we can give any recommendations around that?
There's still a long ways to go. The kind of work that we're doing right now and that most people are doing right now in terms of sequencing is an exploratory kind of thing. It gives you a snippet of the genome of a particular fungus in this case. But as you can see, fungi that are very close together in these sequences, only 4 out of 200 and some nucleotides that we analyze different, can respond very, very differently. So the next step, this kind of work will identify organisms that should be targeted for further study in terms of culture, to actually have the organism in your hands, and because it's much more than just its ITS sequence, or even whole genome sequencing, which is the kinds of next steps that we're planning on taking with these. So you have to get the sequencing gives you that playing field, or that universe of possibilities, and then you can target in on organisms that appear to be important, and then determine what their role is in these different agronomic traits.
Okay, well, thanks so much for all your responses.